year, early second year uni, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually doing quite well with girls. Or at least the first time I feels like I'm doing. I'm actually getting somewhere with it. Over the summer, I go to this festival, and I meet this beautiful girl. And she's like, having a lovely conversation. I just sort of end up talking to her. I think I ask her for a cigarette or something like that. Just have a nice conversation with her, and I can tell, I get the vibe she's kind of interested in me. And then I just go, all right, see you later then, and I walk off. I just sort of throw her into the ether. And then a couple of hours later on that evening, what happens? I run into her again, and we spend the rest of the evening together. I get off with her. She gives me a snap. It's not the greatest haul ever, but that kind of trick kind of works. Just sort of putting it in, the kind of thing of frame. That trick worked there. It paid off. I wanted at that moment to just kind of double down there and then, but I guess a part of me was just like, no, just sort of, abundance mindset, come on. And it paid off. We didn't sleep together. It was just a festival. Didn't really have practically there was nowhere to really. There was nowhere really to do all that stuff, but I still count it as a bit of a win, And then this seems to continue into first year, and into the start of the university term. I get talking to a girl at a nightclub. She gives me her number, and I just do things like, she just texts me. I sort of text her, and she's like, actually, when I see her at the nightclub and we exchange numbers, I tell her, you text me first, which is a bit of, I can't see myself doing it now, but it works. She does text me, and I say, I reply. We get talking about music, and she says, have you heard of I can't remember what the band's called. There's some name for the band, I can't remember. And I say, okay, I'll have a listen and get back to you. I feel like it would be easy in that situation to go, oh yeah, I just listened to them, I really like this song. But for some reason I just have this instinct to go, I'll get back to you on that, Then I leave it a couple of days, and we'll have long, and then I'm like, I actually just give them a listen, and I'm like, a few days later, like, oh, I gave them a listen, and I really like this song, or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, let's meet up. And she's like, oh, when are you free? And the only time she's free is when I've got a lecture. And I kind of think, I don't really, since when did I care about going to lectures? But I thought, no, if this is my frame, I need to be going to lectures. Not because I really thought the lecture was important, but I just thought, this is part of my frame, I need to have. This isn't the terminology I would use at the time, but I was very aware that if I wanted to get results in dating, I needed to be, stand strong to my routine and not let people sway me. Even if it wouldn't have, she wouldn't have known I had a lecture at that point, but I just knew sort of sussily there's some cosmic thing where if I'm compromising my day, she'll kind of pick up on it, right? And so I say, oh, sorry, what about next week? And I think, next week, this girl's going to forget about me, eventually. Like, I can't just, at least it'd be nice to have a date. Let's just do it right now. But I say, she's like, okay, and I think we reorganise like 2 or 3 times before we actually get a date that is like good for both of us, or good for me. Which, funnily enough, is actually a date when I have a lecture anyway. But I just think, oh, fuck it, I've proved my point, right? Let's just, I can miss one lecture. And so I miss this lecture to go see this girl, and we go to this Brewdog place in Manchester, and the date goes really well. We kiss at the end of it, and then agrees to meet up another time. Blah blah blah. And then I go to. We'll come back to that. And then I go to a. It's funny. After that, I just get the vibe that she's been difficult to organise somehow. Like, she's like, oh, I'll see this. I don't really remember, but she becomes so difficult to organise. But I'm head over heels, like, just so attracted to this girl. She's just really my type. Well, not even my type, but like, she just does something to me. She just turns something primal on in my brain. There's something really raw about how attractive she is. Maybe it's her sense of style. I don't know. There's just something that just really sort of turns me on. So the sort of pain. This is the thing. Like, playing hard to get is all very well, but it's painful for me to sort of, stick to my frame. It's painful, it just needs to be going forever. And she's like, oh, maybe you'll, so it kind of comes a bit hit or miss when we're going to meet up again. And at the same time, I go to this sort of event, and I meet this Korean girl who's I find very attractive, and I get her number or Snapchat, and we do a similar thing. Where I'm just like, I think I text her and she says, oh, I'm busy this week. I'm like, okay, text me when you're about, when you are free, text me next week. And I just think she's never going to reply. I think, okay, lost that one. But she does text me back. And she's like, oh, I'm free this week. Let's meet up. Again, I'm keeping the texts short. I'm not dragging it out. And so this is the kind of scene that is going. I seem to be breaking. I seem to be having success that for some reason I don't feel like I was having in first year. I seem to be meeting girls that actually, I quite like. I could see myself being in a relationship with these girls. Maybe they're not like the number one girl I'd ever get with, but like, they're beautiful. We get along. There's something more. There's very sort of dateable. It would be a fun experience just have like a sort of relationship with them, like just a sort of boyfriend girlfriend thing. Like that would be. I seem to be making headway with this in a way that for some reason I feel like I'm not in first year. So in the second year, I'm finally making headway. Things are finally coming together, and it seems to be because of this kind of frame, this kind of hard to get attitude that I'm somehow pulling off, which is good. The problem is that I find this excruciating to do. I'm just constantly thinking about these girls, and yet I'm just playing it really cool, and it's working. I'm seem to be progressing, but it's just so. I just want to sort of. I almost just want to cut the bullshit and just meet them. I don't really enjoy playing that kind of game. I just want to, meet them as soon as possible. Get something started. I don't really, perhaps just from my own weakness of like, oh, you know, I just don't like this. You know, I'm just getting a bit fed up of it, and the progress seems to be so slow. It's like you go on one date, and then it's like, oh, you know, I'm not free next week, but maybe the week after. Okay, text me. You know, like it's it just seems to be like a very long game of just constantly trying to suss the other person out. And you know, when I've tried to play that game since, it doesn't seem to have worked in the same way. I seem to have been working something in a way that I just never have before or since, you know. But even then, it's still incredibly slow progress. I'm just fed up of it. You know, so anyway, around this kind of time,